Yes, ma'am.
Is it uncomfortable on their necks, their collars?
No. So we make sure, see how I can get my fingers in there? If I couldn't get my fingers in there, it would be very uncomfortable. And it would be ineffective. So that's a great question. Because by making it this loose, when I give her a slight little tug, then she feels those things kind of tighten a little bit. She says, uh-oh, I'm doing something wrong. Dad says I need to fix it. And that's when we get it fixed. If it was too tight, it would not work because she'd feel constant pressure all the time. So that's a great question.
To children.
Yes.
And children.
And I wish they had it in different colors, but unfortunately, I mean, there's not many colors. So a lot of times people think they're boy dogs, and I think it's because they're dark colors, Yes, sir.
How did you train them to notice far things away and how far?
That's a good question. So dogs genetically have phenomenal eyesight, right? And their hearing and their sense of smell. Anybody who has dogs at home?
I understand.
So I'm gonna tell you a trick to do with your dog at home that you'll see is really cool. When you go to walk your dog today, you see your dog bend down and he's sniffing something, grab a patch of the grass next to what your dog's sniffing and sniff it, and watch what your dog does. They're so perceptive. Like right now, these guys probably see a squirrel, there's a bird, there's something back there.
A person.
That isn't somebody walking back there? Yeah. But they're so perceptive. But if you pick up something next to where your dog is sniffing and act like you're sniffing it, show some interest in it, and then watch your dog internal start doing the same thing with you. Yes, ma'am.
I see their nose moving. Do they bring out their mouth or their nose or their throat?
That's another great question. So most of their sensory, they take in with their nose. So you'll notice with the patrol dogs or apprehension dogs, if they're looking for, and I left out a very important group of dogs, guys, and I'm sorry, 2 groups. So we also have detection dogs at the airport that try to find explosive devices or bad things at the airport. But we also have SAR dogs, which is search and rescue dogs. And those dogs look for people that get lost. Kids, older adults, sometimes people wander off. So they look for those people. You'll notice that when those dogs start, we call it tracking, when they get on a scent and they find something, they'll breathe with their mouth open like the regular normal panting, but then you'll see them close their mouth, and you notice then that that's when they really pick up a good scent. And they'll have their mouth closed and they'll be drawn in that scent. Now, it really expends a lot of energy out of them. It really does. It sucks the wind out of them because they need their mouth open to keep cool and to cool off and to get their air back. By breathing through their nose, kind of like us when you're jogging, how you have to struggle a little bit. But once they pick up a track, those guys want to keep their mouth closed. And you'll see they'll alternate back and forth, but normally everything comes through the nose. Yes, sir.
How fast are these dogs?
Dea is super fast, real fast, fast. Willow thinks she's fast. You know how in your mind you think, but yeah, this one, a little rocky. So when you're training a dog, one of the things that I found out early on is that I thought it would be all day training. I thought we train for about 15 to 30 minutes and we quit because their attention span is very short. That's why one of the things that you'll learn about us while we train with these dogs, I don't use their names until it's time for them to come to me. And we've talked about their names a lot today, but I don't use their names until it's time to come. A lot of times because if you have to discipline the dog, their memory is so short, you don't want to discipline your dog by using the name because then all of a sudden they start associating their name with bad behaviors that they've done. And how do you fix that? It's hard to correct it. So we don't. But going back to your question, we'll do about 2 sessions a day, early in the morning, and then we'll do another session in the afternoon. Now, the training with these guys is food-based training. What I mean by that is everything's about the treats. I don't know if you saw a minute ago, but Willow just stole 2 out of here when she came over. So, everything is about the treats. See, I moved the bag, now they start paying attention. But it's all food-based. Yes. So whatever you think you want them to do, and these guys are so smart and so perceptive that whatever you think of, they're probably already ahead of you. And the idea is to make them think it's their idea. So even teaching them something basic to sit, you got to make her believe it's her idea. Otherwise, she's going to say, I'm not doing that. They do, and that's a great question. But their peripheral vision is not as broad as ours, so a lot of times you'll see them turn their head. And a lot of times, if you notice the question you asked earlier, Dea will sit here and her nose, she'll put her head up sometimes because maybe the wind came through and it was a squirrel a mile away, and that wind of the squirrel just caught on. It's funny because the older she gets now, I notice she starts to kind of look more for birds and things that she wouldn't do for whoever had her. Now she's like, ooh, a squirrel, a lizard. She loves to go after lizards. And she's caught him a couple times, and then she doesn't know what to do. And I don't mean she caught him like grab him, like she'll run up and the lizard doesn't move, and then she's like, So they're very inquisitive, but they use their eyesight. They're more so their nose than anything, because that helps them. Yes.
Their brain sense is stronger than ours. Much stronger than ours.
So it's supposed to be 10 times stronger than our senses now. So by us sitting here and they're cooking hamburgers today in the cafeteria, by the time it comes up that little stout and we smell it, they've already smelled it. I mean, they smell it when it comes out of the refrigerator before they smack it on the grill. And they can pick up, and that's how they can track someone where that person has been there, because we're losing skin cells. Even as we're sitting here talking, these skin cells are falling off. But what happens for a person that's running, or one of the apprehension dogs is following them, those skin cells are falling off, but not only are they just falling off, they're falling off with endorphins in them, they're falling off with adrenaline in them. So the dog picks up my scent and says, wait, this is a friend, because he's not dropping the same scent. This guy is dropping something with a lot more to it. So instead of my 10,189, this guy might be dropping a million different, scents off, and the dog is picking that up and keying in on that. The SAR dogs, they actually have to take an article of clothing and they present it to the dog. So they would take your patrol belt, for instance, and the dog would smell that and know that's you. Now, going back to you.
What's a SAR dog?
Search and rescue, I'm sorry. So our search and rescue dogs. So search and rescue dogs, before they take them out, they may ask a family member, can I have an article of clothing? That also goes back to your puppy and your training. When you bring your new puppy home, he's used to being around 12 or 13 other siblings, right? You take a shirt that you've worn for a couple days, and you put that shirt in them with them. So that starts the bonding process. Even as they're sleeping, the dog is breathing and getting your scent.
Do any of you remember that I came to this school some time ago?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
And who did I come with? Remember Luke? Remember Luke? So Mrs. Culp told me that my books are in your library. So these interviews that I'm doing and bringing information and education to the kids, I'm now filming all over Palm Beach County. So there's films where I'm talking to the director at the Palm Beach County Zoo and all the animals you'll see, and Lion Country and Loggerhead Marine Life and McCarthy's. I have all these great fun films where you'll also learn about other animals, wildlife, because if you remember, my mission and Luke's mission is to teach children compassion for all animals and things that you can do to help, wildlife. And so this is just part of the films, and this whole film will be for, where you can see, show your parents, this whole interview. So this is very exciting for me. I have something special for you too. I brought each of you a little bracelet. It's Luke's bracelet, and it has our website. And I'm now doing virtual teaching, so I don't come into the schools any longer with Luke, but on TV, y'all know what virtual is, right? So I have now a virtual classroom. So I will be doing presentations that way. And anyway, the website is on here. That's how you can find the films that we're doing at all the wildlife centers. So you have to get permission from mom or dad to be able to, go on the website. And then I also have little stickers for you for Luke's clubhouse. So he now has a clubhouse, and he has all these little critters. Luke loves all animals, even the little critters like the butterfly. And we have a newsletter that goes out monthly, and it kind of shows what's new that we're doing. So I wanted to share that with you all in the first students, because I'm just starting this virtual teaching. So I'm very, very excited that you got to hear all about these beautiful dogs, and thank you also for coming, because it's all about teaching the kids, training for animals and compassion. And you see, they love their job, and I think it's a wonderful thing that the Sheriff's Department is doing now to help people. So I'm going to turn it back over to you.
But that important piece is the compassion piece. It really is. Years ago I worked at the school system, and bullying was a big thing, and we talked about bullying. We know that it's on a downslide, but you guys being safety patrols, that's a very important role. I was a safety patrol. There's only probably about 10 years ago when I was I'm just kidding.
Only about 10 years ago.
Yeah. If you tell your parents that, they'll get the joke. So wait, it's a long time ago. I don't even know that we had belts. I think they just identified us, but it's an important role, and especially for the younger guys coming up behind you, to make sure that you express and show that compassion, right? Because there's a lot of folks that are watching you. You don't believe it. It's not just the adults, it's the younger kids that are watching you. Ms. Barbera and I, walking in here, we were talking about, look at these little kindergartners. And I guarantee you that when you pass some of these kids in the hallway, some of the younger guys, they're looking at you saying, man, I want to be that person today. And if they see you doing something, they mimic those behaviors. You know how it's so easy to train her? Because she copies everything that she does. So we have a choice, right? Our choice is to do what? If we show those right behaviors, we show compassion, somebody drop a book, we help them out, teachers come along, we open the door, right? Somebody's come with a bunch of books, maybe I can take half of your books for you, help you out. Those little things, people are watching that, and it's important to do those same things when nobody's watching. That's even more important, right? Because it shows the character of who we are. Yeah? So these guys are pretty familiar with you guys at this point. You all can come on up. We don't have to do one at a time. Whoever you want to pet, switch it up. They get jealous, they'll push each other out of the way. So, you're free. You're free. She is. She is, and that's a good question.
Gosh, it would have been a long time ago.
I used to have two.
I had one when I was a kid.
He had the most beautiful red tie, and I even have I even have this a stuffed animal in the library.
Pretty cool. Actually, Tucker's a golden set, golden Irish set.
Let me give you your stickers for Luke's Clubhouse, and also the bracelets. And that has the website on it, so you can see Luke and you're welcome, and all kinds of fun things that we have on this site. You are welcome.
The day I got the permission to look, I went straight to your website.
Did you? Oh, good. That makes me happy. So did you see any of the films yet? From that, you can click on and see all the films we're doing. So you have to just ask Mom for permission.
I saw one of your videos, like where you introduced Luke and all this stuff.
Great. Good. All right. Thank you so much. And Mrs. Combs, thank you for having us. It's exciting. You are welcome. And thank you again. This has been very, very nice for the kids, and I'm glad you all enjoyed it. Even though when the rain stopped.
It stopped in just enough for us to get out.
Poured and poured until we just pulled in. Yeah.
We are big supporters of books, big supporters of animal kindness and compassion. Our 3 school rules are what, guys? Respectful, responsible, and safe. That's right. So those are 3 things that we live by. So thank you so much for coming and sharing with us today.
Thank you.
I actually learned a couple of new things, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I learned new things. You did? And you guys have great questions too. So
Yes, you
Great
did. Thank you.
questions, all of them.
But thank you guys again. You had great questions. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
I want to thank you all for joining and watching. I hope you enjoyed this and learned some great things about these wonderful therapy dogs with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Department. Very grateful that they allowed us to come out, and also Mrs. Culp from Timber Trace Elementary Schools. So thank you. Please subscribe to our channel, because every week I'm coming up, I'll have a new film that educates the kids and adults on many different things with our domestic animals and wildlife. Thank you. Please subscribe to our channel, and if you really like it, give us a thumbs up. Thank you.